Kerry were massive 20-1 on to beat Westmeath, and they started with a score in the very first minute of this first championship meeting between the sides as Colm Cooper, playing at full forward, scored a point close in. But Westmeath, playing against a strong breeze, shocked their more illustrious opponents with 4 unanswered points. Kieran Martin, Ger Egan, Dennis Curran and Ronan Foley put Westmeath 4 points to 1 in front. Kerry, though, equalised on 12 minutes when Owen Brosnan was brought down in the large square. Although Kieran Donaghy put the ball to the net, referee Martin Higgins gave a penalty, which Brian Sheehan dispatched, sending Westmeath goalkeeper Darren Quinn the wrong way. But Westmeath kept coming at Kerry. Trojan work at defence and some fine points like this one from midfielder John Heslin put Westmeath back in front. 5 minutes before half-time, a free from Kieran Martin extended that lead to 3 points as the home side kept plugging away at the Kerry defence. Colm Cooper, playing in that unaccustomed full-forward role, at least reduced the margin with a late point to leave it 8 points to 1-3 at half-time for Westmeath. Alarmingly for Kerry, Westmeath, now with the wind at their backs, pulled out to a 6-point lead, a Dennis Lennon point and then a penalty award after Michael Ennis had been upended. Full forward, David Clennon dispatched the penalty and Westmeath were in dreamland. However, the introduction of Darren O'Sullivan had the desired effect, and just 3 minutes later the substitute got Kerry's second goal after being set up by the Gooch Cooper, and suddenly Kerry were right back in the game. Points from James Donahue, Paul Galvin, Brian Sheehan and this Cooper free meant the sides were level by the 56th minute. 19-year-old John Heslin, who had a fine game at midfield for Westmeath, then levelled up the game again with his free in the 64th minute. But Sheehan and Paul Galvin scored points and the experienced Kerry side had hauled themselves back from the brink, and entering injury time, Kerry led by 2. The final score was another Heslin free, and 2 minutes into injury time there was just 1 between the sides. But there was time for no more as the referee blew the final whistle. Relief for Kerry, agony for Westmeath as Kerry advanced, but by the smallest margin. Kerry 2-10, Westmeath 1-12.
Westmeath really put it up to us, and 10 minutes into the second half I suppose you'd have thought we were out of the championship because we were 6 if not 7 down and faced a Gala win. So I suppose O'Fellas deserve a bit of credit for coming back and showing a bit of composure, but the first half was the disappointing aspect for us because we had a lot of the ball and we just didn't get enough scores.
All week we felt that we could win this game, and I don't think too many outside of the dressing room felt that, but I think the way our players played today, you could see that they had something between the teeth and they were willing to go forward and have a cut at the game. And I think for long periods we outplayed Kerry. We lost a little bit in experience and maybe 1 or 2 decisions, but it's a credit to them the way they performed today.
Blue and white were the colours of the day at O'Moore Park for a repeat of the 1986 National League final. Raiding wing-back Conor Boyle helped Laois to a 2 points to no score lead 4 minutes in. But the home side's discipline became a concern as Monaghan registered 5 points without reply, 3 of them from frees, with Tommy Freeman also chipping in from play, and by the 20th minute the Farney County had built up a 5 points to 2 lead. Quick ball to the forwards was working wonders for the O'Moore men, who, having levelled at 5 points each, broke through for the first goal of the match, a bullet from Stradbully's Colm Kelly which came flying back out. The umpire on the left had the best view of anyone at the game, and he was adamant that it was a goal. It pushed Laois 1-5 to 5 points ahead. Laois continued to move the ball well, and in the run-up to half-time, Brendan Quigley from Timahoe scored this sweetly struck goal, and at the break, Laois held a 5-point advantage, 2-7 to 8 points. Monaghan needed to hit the ground running in the second half, and the early signs were promising as Paul Finlay and midfielder Dick Clerkin reduced Laois's lead to 3. While the Ulster side had enough possession to get closer, their accuracy in front of goal stifled their comeback hopes, and they were lucky not to concede a third goal. Goalkeeper Mark Keogh and Colin Walsh combining to keep Colm Kelly's effort out. Laois went on to go 7 points up, leaving Monaghan chasing goals in the closing stages. Darren Hughes, after a surging run, tried his best, but Owen Culleton produced an outstanding one-handed save. Monaghan still battled on for that goal, but to no avail, and for the second year in a row, their championship campaign comes to an end in the Midlands, as it finished in O'Moore Park, Laois 2-12, Monaghan 12 points.
The inspiration for the performance came from a great Laois man who's had unbelievable impact on a lot of players' footballing careers. John Mulligan, who's come through a very tough illness at the moment, came along the sideline today and was there with the players for the national anthem. Such a lift that was for the guys, and the players gave that performance for John Mulligan, hoping that he'll make a full recovery.
It's a bit hard to take the defeats, but that's not the reason I'm going. You'd never stop or give up on anything. It's just, I feel it is a job now for somebody to come in and step in and take it for another 3 years, because I think that's what it's going to take.
All right, then we'll chat about the Laois-Monaghan match in a moment. But first, we almost had a sensational result in Mullingar. Pat, were you surprised?
I was very surprised. On the positive, Kerry have retained their 100% record. They're the only county never to have been beaten from round 1 to round 4. But they remind me of the opening line of Peg Sayers' book. I'm an old woman now with 1 foot on the bank and 1 foot in the grave, and that's the way the Kerry team appear now. There is 1 foot in the grave. Now, I used that analogy in 2009, and they came through the back door and won in All-Ireland. You would have used a similar analogy in 2006, but there's a big difference between 2006, 2009 and Kerry of 2012.
What is it?
In 2006, Kerry reinvented themselves coming through the back door, and they introduced Kieran Donaghy as the target man full forward, and it was a different Kerry team. In 2009, Jack managed to coax Mike McCarthy out of retirement. He manned the troublesome centre-half back, and that was the key. There's no reinvention here, there's no new pieces to the jigsaw, and worse still, this is a bunch of players that have a lot of water's gone under the bridge since 2009. There's a lot of mileage in their legs. There's a little bit of it's a bit like rearranging the deck chairs of the Titanic, and Kerry haven't found the spark and the formula. Look, when a Kerry team scores 5 points from play against Tipperary, 5 points from play against Cork, and goes an entire first half today before scoring their first point from play in 33 minutes against Westmeath, it's not going well, Des.
All right. Good performance from Westmeath, great performance. Now, a lot of their supporters have been on to us. They were very annoyed at a free given against Westmeath that led to the second goal.
I think Westmeath do deserve great credit for the performance today, but they're 6 points up at this stage. Westmeath defenders coming out with the ball. The referee blows a whistle. It's questionable what the free was for. He was on probably about his 5th step when the referee blew the whistle. Colin Cooper gains about 5 yards into Darren O'Sullivan. And that's a game changer to a certain degree. Westmeath were 6 points up with all the momentum. It brought Kerry back in.
It's about 6 steps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Well, he blows. The hand has gone up. The hand has gone up.
Yeah, but his hand was up.
The hand has gone up after about 4 or 5.
About 5 or 6 steps. So he did overplay the ball. But like I said, this goes back to what we said about Cormac Riley initially. This is the a la carte approach by referees to the game. Sometimes they pull a hand pass, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they pull players for overcarrying.